In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
A judge in Nevada was violently attacked by a defendant that she was sentencing in a felony battery case. 30-year-old Deborah, who has a lengthy criminal record, leapt over the defense table and over the judge's bench in order to attack her. Here's more of the disturbing video. Absolutely disturbing. Now, the name of the defendant is Deborah Redden, and I want to give you some more context about what happened. But before I do, I'm going to go over to Cenk for a brief comment. Go ahead, Cenk.
The Raiders have already signed him. Okay, that's going over all over social media. But here's another thing I learned from that tape. Apparently, some dudes don't know how to punch. But hey, thanks for trying.
Come on, Cenk.
Anyways, that was an amazing leap. Are we not going to say that before we go forward? That was like record breaking. What's he doing?
Yeah, I would have preferred that we didn't say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have preferred that.
Oh well, nevertheless, here it is. And my one comment here for now is, no one has ever been more correct in denying parole to someone.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so first let me just note that the judge is okay. The Judge Mary Holthus, who fell back in her seat and was pushed up against the wall during the attack. She did suffer some injuries, but luckily nothing too serious, and she was not hospitalized. A courtroom marshal was injured though, and he came to the judge's aid. Unfortunately, he suffered from a gash on his head, his forehead to be exact, and he also had a dislocated shoulder and did go to the hospital. Now, the defendant, Deborah Delone Redden, 30, was arrested and jailed at the Clark County Detention Center, where records showed he faces multiple new felony charges, including battery on a protected person.
I'd like to be a protected person.
Well, you're not, referring to the judge and court officers. In fact, I mean, literally if the same thing happened to us on the street in California.
Well, we're not protected people.
No, we're not, believe me. With that said though, it happened so fast, it was hard to know what to do, said Richard Scow, the chief county district attorney who prosecuted Redden on a case that stemmed from an arrest last year on allegations that Redden attacked a person with a baseball bat.
Which I now instantly believe.
Yeah, so Redden was not in custody when he arrived to court on Wednesday. That is when this incident happened. So he had asked the judge for leniency while describing himself as a person who never stops trying to do the right thing, no matter how hard it is. Interesting thing to claim about yourself when you have a lengthy criminal record, but nonetheless, I'm not a rebellious person, he told the judge, later adding that he doesn't think he should be sent to prison. But if it's appropriate for you, then you have to do what you have to do. And so she went back and looked at his lengthy criminal record. She actually heard a case involving him, a separate case involving him last October. And when I say he has a lengthy record, it's not for small things, domestic battery, that kind of stuff, usually a lot of violence involved. And when his pleas to the judge didn't work and she was about to sentence him to some prison time, that was when he reacted the way that he did. And so his defense attorney told local news that he's been diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. He's been to mental health court twice. Okay, twice amid a string of violent crimes, including domestic violence, and the judge oversaw one of his previous cases, and that involved malicious destruction of property. And so, although he has that history of mental illness, he was evaluated to see if he was competent to stand trial, and they determined that he was. Records showed that Redden, a Las Vegas resident, was evaluated and found mentally competent to stand trial before pleading guilty in November. November to a reduced charge of attempted battery causing substantial bodily harm. He previously served prison time in Nevada on a domestic battery conviction, state records show.
He said he never stops trying to do the right thing. He's not a rebellious person, and he can't jump at all. All of that was, of course, written by his lawyer. I'm kidding about the jumping part. And so it's the exact opposite of what reality is, and you saw it through his actions. And so, look, guys, on a very serious note, some folks have to be involuntarily incapacitated, institutionalized, okay? And so if that guy is willing to do that crazy thing to a judge in court, what do you think he'd be willing to do to you when he thinks no one's looking?
It doesn't matter, we're not protected people.
Yeah, so look, we obviously crime's a real issue. We've got to get it under control. We've got folks like this. It doesn't help to pretend that they don't exist. We just have to have the right solution. And maybe the right solution isn't, give him this extraordinarily lengthy sentence when he's a schizophrenic. But then you can't turn around and say, just let him go. Of course not, that's ridiculous. He's like obviously a significant danger to anyone. So then, okay, then we've got to make a hard choice. And either you go to prison or you get institutionalized. And it doesn't mean forever, and it doesn't mean you can't get better, but he's obviously not well now.
Yeah, look, listen, mental health court is never gonna work unless it is mandatory and enforced, okay? Simply sentencing someone to a facility and creating a situation in which they could easily just walk out of the facility and not spend any time at a mental health facility, that's not gonna work. And that's how the system currently works in many states, including California, including New York.
That's not a thing. No,
it's crazy.
If you say you have to go to a mental health institution, you have to go. It's not optional. You can't. Okay. What if he had jumped over the thing and gotten a good punch in and killed her, like to her throat or whatever it was? Are we just supposed to be like, okay, we're suggesting you go to a mental health institution, but if you want, you can just walk out? No, it has to be mandatory. It's not optional. Otherwise it's crazy. And by the way, if you make it like that, then judges are going to be worried about giving people, basically mental health institutions, assigning them there instead of a prison. So they're just going to send them to prison, and that's not going to help anybody. You see what I'm saying? If you really believe the person is mentally unwell, you don't want them going to a prison. You want them to go to a mental health institution. But if they can walk out the door, then they're going to send them to prison instead, and nobody wins. If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.